And as I'm drinking, I'm having IPAs at noon on a fucking Saturday. So obviously, my filter is slowly degrading.
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know.
Hello, everyone. This is Mike from dailyBred, and today's podcast episode, I figured I'd go a little bit lighter since I feel like probably the last couple have been a little bit dark in a sense, a little bit intense. Um, so, like, one of the things that I outlined when I was going to start this podcast was talk about like real life shit, and then another part of it was just like random stories from my life. And this will probably be a quick episode. Granted, I'm like 30 something seconds into this thing, and I'm gonna just guess where I'm gonna take it. But I'm gonna tell a story, and I I just want to tell some like random stories from my life because I don't know. It's weird to go back into your life and see moments and think that this would be a funny thing to share. And who knows how this will go. But this was something that was a pretty significant story in the time when I was going through the whole divorce thing. And it was really funny and it really connected me with some people. So I figured I would just tell it. So this was something that happened right around the time, it was like the summer after I was getting divorced, or I think it was officially divorced. I'm not really sure. It's all kind of blurred together. But in this time period of my life, this is 2014, and I'm dealing with my dad passing away suddenly. I'm going through the whole divorce process with my ex, and I'm living in Morristown, New Jersey. And at this time, so right when she had, left, which you can hear in, I don't know, whatever fucking episode it was that I have. So right when she leaves, this, if you listen to any of the other episodes, you know, the story that I had helped her open a CrossFit, and I was going to that gym. So now I defined a new place because she leaves me. She's starting to date her business partner of the CrossFit that I helped her open. And obviously, I'm not going to fucking go back there. So, and I'm also living about 10 minutes down the road from that gym and in the apartment that we shared. So it's this total mind fuck that's happening. And I was like, all right, well, I need to establish some kind of concrete ground or whatever. And there was a gym in Morristown that we had started going to when we left to do the CrossFit that we had started, or I helped her start in like the marketing and stuff. And they were Gorilla Fitness, and we didn't leave there on very good terms. And I didn't have a very good relationship with the owner, which is a whole other story, which I'll probably tell one day. So I wasn't going to go back there. And there was another CrossFit that had opened up in Morristown called 13 Stars. And it was a funny story because about a month or two before my ex had left, I had run into what we as a couple ran into the couple that opened 13 Stars at a on like a Sunday getting like breakfast in Morristown, and which was, so random thinking back to it. But anyway, so I knew that they had opened up this gym in town, so I went there and I was like, hey, and I went there with the mentality of I need a new gym to go to, and because I need just to, work out or whatever, and some a new community to hang out with. So I walked in there and I talked to Brian, who is one of the owners of the gym, and he's a great guy, still a great guy to this day. We're still friends with him to this day. And I was like, hey man, I need, I was like, I need to go to this new gym, and no one knew that me and the ex had broken up, and he was like, oh, okay, well, I thought you had a gym that you were opening. I was like, yeah, need to do something else. So I was like, hey, can I sign up and start going here? So I start going here. So this leads into the mix of things that make the story interesting are I'm, again, as I started the podcast with, like, I'm going through dealing with the loss of my dad, dealing with the loss of a marriage, and then trying to live in the same community that I've been living for a couple of years, and not disconnecting myself from like the friends that I had, but just growing a new community or people that I knew. So my thing in general or in life is that I'm very just blunt and I say really fucked up shit. And I like to surround myself with people who get the joke and they can give it back. So, uh, and then you got to think about where I'm at this point. Where I'm thinking, okay, I want to kind of build, get some new friends, and I don't want to go too, um, I don't want to unleash the typical. I want to kind of teeter between the things that I say because, I just don't give a fuck in the shit that I say, but I want to be able to make friends at the same time. So it's like you kind of have to gauge who you're around and see who's down with that. So I joined this gym and I'm just typically when I join, what I've noticed is when I've joined many new gyms since that time, since this is now 2019 and that was 2014, is anytime I've gone to join new gyms, I've noticed that I'm very shy in the beginning. If I don't know anyone, I don't say anything, even though I'm very outspoken and I'm a huge extrovert. But when I first get around people that I don't know, I'm very quiet. I don't engage. I just don't become. I'm like a 180 of who I am in general in real life. So I joined this gym, and I'm just slowly getting into the community. And this one weekend happens, and they're going, "Hey, we're gonna go do this competition that's in town, and you should come to it." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So it was a local competition with other CrossFits, and everyone was just doing, I think, like single competition where it was like RX and scaled and shit like that. But Brian and his wife Julie, and then my other friend Julie, they were doing the competition. So I was like, "All right, cool. I'll show up. I'll take some pictures, and we can hang out afterwards." So we go there, or they're there, and I show up and I'm supporting them and cheering them on. And then the competition was like 3 hours or something like that. And then it's only about a couple minutes outside of Morristown. So at the end, we all got together after the competition ended, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go back into Morristown and just go get some beers. Do you want to go?" And at this point, it's about like 12. It's like noon on a Saturday. It's like, oh fuck yeah, I want to go day drinking. So we go to this bar. It's this Irish bar in Morristown, and I can't remember the fucking name right now, but it's right off South Street. And we go into town, and we're sitting there. We're outside. We're having beers. We're about like maybe two or three in, and I'm trying to get to know these people. I'm trying to just make some new friends and not say the wrong thing and gauge if what I say mixes with if they find it funny. So there's always a point where I try to find when I introduce that into a conversation. And so we're sitting there drinking, and as I'm drinking, I'm having IPAs at noon on a fucking Saturday. So obviously, my filter is slowly degrading. And Brian gets a text like, "Oh, like Mike and his girlfriend are gonna show up. This is one of the members of the gym. It's Mike and his. I don't think they were engaged at the time. They might have been, but it's Mike and his girlfriend Carrie, who are now married and they have like three kids and they're great people. So we're sitting there and all of a sudden Mike and Carrie come in and we're introduced. I'm like, "Hey, I'm Mike," and he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm Mike. This is Carrie." I'm like, "Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you." And they sit down, and now Carrie is a doctor in yeah in Morristown in the ER at this point in time, and so they come in within minutes, not minutes, like within like a minute, you know, Brian, who is the owner of the gym, and he's like, "Hey, how you guys doing? What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit." And Carrie's like, "Yeah, and the last night was a rough night." And We're like, oh, why? And she goes, well, I'm working the ER last night, and there's like a guy in his 50s, and he comes in, and he was having sex with a girl who was, I think, like 26. And during sex, um, she has a brain aneurysm and dies while they're having sex. And the first thing I thought was I was expecting it completely it was gonna be completely opposite way around. Like this guy was gonna come and he was gonna be dead. And we hear this, we're like, Jesus Christ, that's fucking insane. And she's like, yeah, so this guy comes in with this girl that he had been, you know, having sex with, and she died on him in her 20s from a fucking brain aneurysm. So as she's telling this story, you have to realize again, going back, I'm in around new people trying to deal with some really fucking crazy shit and just trying to make some new friends. And she goes, yeah, this poor guy, he must have felt so. And I just quickly cut her off in front of these 5 people that I'm just meeting and go, powerful. And Mike looks at me and goes, yes. So, needless to say, I became really good friends with 4 out of the 5 people there that day. And that's my story.